So today's practice is a 30-minute practice, and we're going to be working with a classic flow. So I tend to teach quite elaborated vinyasa classes, but today I've gone for just a simple, straightforward, feel-good kind of flow. So we're going to do a little bit of mobility work for the spine, open up the hips a little bit, and take our time to explore and find space in the body. And I invite you to really tune in and notice what you're feeling in the body, what you're noticing from one side to the other, when it's easy for you to be present, when it tends to be the case that the mind is wandering away, and just become a little bit more of a self-exploration journey, as well as it being about the physical body, okay? So as you're settling in, just grab yourself a couple of blocks. We're going to sit on a block for a moment to get started. So grab a block and just bring it underneath your hips here. And come to a comfortable seat. And let's just take a moment to close our eyes once we're in that comfortable seat. Just a moment to arrive away from what's happening in our physical world and instead arrive into our body, into our here and now. So as your eyes start to close, just notice how it feels to be here in this moment. And choose consciously to let go of everything that was happening in the moments before this one. Letting go of any attachment to things that were happening before you closed your eyes. Letting go of any attachment to the things that might come later in your day. And just notice how it feels to be here. How your mood is, how your energy is. And take a big breath in through the nose. And as you breathe in, just say to yourself, I'm aware that I'm breathing in. Notice the energy working its way into the lungs and that gentle expansion of the heart space. And then notice the exhale, how everything draws back to center. And as you exhale, just saying to yourself, I'm aware that I'm breathing out. And let's just do that 3 more times together. As you inhale, I'm aware that I'm breathing in. Space and energy arriving into the body. And as you exhale, I'm aware that I'm breathing out. 2 more times, your own rhythm. And this simple focus for your mind, helping us to let go of everything else. Last one. And when that last breath is complete, just gently let the eyelids start to open. And then once your eyelids are open, lift yourself up so you can release that block to the side here. And change the cross of your legs. Change the cross of your legs so the less natural one is in front. And then keep the length in the spine. Let's take our left hand down to the side of the mat, right hand up to the sky. And on the exhale, just begin to lean over to the side of the room. Shoulder draws back, ribs are awakening, or tissue in between the ribs is awakening. Notice the space arriving into the lower back, QL area. And then let's slowly come back through center, taking the right hand down and then left arm up and over. Chest lifts, shoulders draw back, and we try to reach just a little bit further. And we notice now that delicious space coming into the lower back. Space in between the ribs, around the chest, the heart. Notice how that feels. And we're going to do it just 1 more time in each direction. So come back through center nice and slowly. Left hand down, right hand over. Notice if there's a little additional space coming in. Last time, coming through center, right hand down, left arm up and over. Chest lifts, shoulders draw back, and just aware of where your body's feeling it the most. Go ahead and come back up slowly to center. Now you'll roll yourself over into tabletop position here. Shoulders are above the wrists, hips are above the knees, fingers nice and wide. As you inhale, let's soften the belly, reach the chest forward, your tailbone lightly lifting. So you're awakening the front of the spine and the tissues here. And on the exhale, push the ground away with the hands, round the spine, chin to the chest. Notice the shoulder blades separate, the space on the back of the spine. And then keep on moving like this with your breath. Inhale, opening through the front body. Exhale, rounding through the spine, awakening the fascia along the back of the spine, the muscles along the back of the spine. Closing your eyes if it feels comfortable for you. We're going to take 3 more rounds like this, just mobilizing the spine and all of those tissues in between the vertebrae. Connection point of upper and lower body. And the connection point of the spine sitting nicely into the pelvic bowl. Last breath. And when that last breath is complete, just slowly beginning to make your way back to neutral. Now from here, keep the hips above the knees. Let's walk the fingers forwards, melting heart pose. So your chin or forehead coming down towards the mat. If you can't reach the mat with your chin or forehead, you're going to rest a block underneath. And just notice the space that starts to come in even more now through the back of the arms, the front of the chest and shoulders, the front of the belly. And then breathe into the lungs, draw that energy down inside of you. And as you exhale, just notice if you can go just a little bit further into the shape. Nice and relaxed, just creating kind of the opposite direction to how we spend so much of our day. Rounding forward through the spine, particularly when it gets a little longer in the day. We're sitting down a lot. Take another big breath. And then just slowly start to lift the chest, walk the hands back to where they were. And let's tuck the toes under from here, lifting the hips up high to the sky. First downward dog of the day, perhaps. Start to walk the dog. So you're lifting one heel, bending the same knee, getting a little bit of movement through the back of the legs. Notice how it feels around the back of the ankles, the Achilles area. Notice how it feels around the calf muscle. And those bigger, denser muscles at the top of the leg, the hamstrings. And while you're here, can you push the ground away with the hands, lift the hips really high. Notice that feeling of elongation through the spine here. Take another breath. And then just slowly pause. Walk the feet a couple of inches closer to the wrists. Put the weight into the right hand. Left hand comes across the body to the outside of the shin or ankle. And as you exhale, you're going to draw your chest under towards the right side of the mat. Keep pushing the ground away with that right hand. And then nice and simple, release left hand to the earth, weight into the left hand, right hand across to the outside of left shin, drawing the torso now over to face left side of the room. Little thoracic, spine, upper back mobility work. And then hand comes to the ground, soften those knees and take tiny little baby steps with the feet to the top of the mat. So you're in forward fold now at the top of the mat. Okay, little bend in the knees if you need it. And just notice how things feel as we fold into through the back of the legs, the lower back in particular. And then go ahead and draw the belly lightly to the spine. Roll yourself up, vertebrae by vertebrae. And your head is the last thing to arrive. And then go ahead and bring the hands to heart center. Really push them against each other so we fire up the muscles in the upper back. We remind ourselves what good posture looks and feels like. Rock back and forth between the front and back of the foot here. Spread the toes nice and wide. And just notice how it feels to pause and arrive in center. Push down through the feet, lift up through the inner arches. Feel the muscles in the legs and the outer hip engage. Keep the legs strong as you inhale, reach the fingers to the sky. And then exhale, slowly hinge from the hips. Hands travel through heart center to the ground. Let's step right foot back. Knee comes down, top of the foot to the earth, fingers to the sky as you inhale. And I want you to sink down towards the hips, but rather than kind of collapse into it, draw the belly in and up, which draws you a little bit away from the ground. You'll feel more through the front of that hip. Grip the earth with the feet and imagine that you're squeezing inner thighs in towards each other. And notice how that fires up a lot of the muscles in the legs, so it suddenly feels a little bit more active than just hanging out here. Notice how that feels, and then go ahead and interlace the fingers behind the back. Lift the chest and reach the hands away from the lower back. So there's this elevation of the chest, the sternum area. And if you can't reach the hands together, just bring them towards each other. Same effect. One more breath here. And then release the hands, right hand to the earth, twist to the left side of the room, left hand up to the sky. Use the right hand to push the ground away. And as you exhale, really draw the ribs on the left side and the shoulder and chest back. Big, big breath. And then go ahead and reach the fingers towards the back of the room. Pick up the right foot, and some of you might reach the foot and hand together. If you can't reach to touch, just draw the heel actively towards the bottom. Still working with that twisting motion through the spine. So a little work for glutes and hamstrings. A little space coming in around the chest. One more breath here. And then slowly release the hand to the ground. Tuck the toes under, lift the back knee. Step it back to downward facing dog. Hips nice and high, hands push the earth away. Spine long. And then take your gaze forward as you travel into a strong plank. Hands push the earth away, lift up through the upper back, heels reaching away. And let's chaturanga, so come down to chaturanga. And then all the way down to the ground. Inhale, baby cobra. So chest is lifted, elbows are hugging into the body. You feel the power in the back of the body. Push down through the feet. And then tuck those toes under, lifting through plank, arriving back to downward facing dog. And as we do, inhale, lifting right leg. Okay, and then exhale very slowly, knee towards the nose, and then place right foot between the hands. Lowering left knee down, top of the foot to the ground, and then we come up into our second side of low crescent. So you're sinking into the earth, the belly's drawing in and up, so you're feeling it through the front of that left hip. And we're gripping the mat with our toes, sinking down, and everything from the belly button up is lifting. Sinking down and yet rising, expanding. Nice active fingers so the muscles in the upper back are still with us, firing up. Sink a little deeper, and then this time turn the palms to face forward. Bend the elbows so we cactus the arms. Chest lifts, and it's like we're squeezing shoulder blades towards each other. Gaze can be forward, gaze can be up. Notice how that feels all the way through the front of the body, but that feeling of power that starts to come into the upper back as well. Take another breath here. And then let's release left hand down to the ground. As we twist, right hand reaches up to the sky. Ribs, chest, shoulder, all the time drawing back. And if this feels manageable, pick up left foot. Reach around with right hand. Some of you might grab the foot, in which case push the foot into the hand. And remember, if you can't reach the foot, no problem. You're just actively drawing it towards you. And keep on leaning back. So we're inviting more and more space into thoracic spine. Big, big breath. And then let's release that foot. Hand to the top of the mat. Tuck the left toes, lift the knee, and step forward, forward fold. Take a breath. Head is heavy, neck is relaxed. There's still a bend in the knees if we need it. Slowing things down, rocking back and forth if you want to between the front and back of the foot. Just checking in. And then we keep the belly lightly drawn in. We're rolling up vertebrae by vertebrae. Head is once again the last thing to come up. As we do come to stand, we bring the hands to heart center. Pushing down through the feet, so we're strong through the legs. Belly draws in and up. We're going to lift the fingers to the sky. A little bit more of a lift this time, a little back bend if you are able. And then slow motion, hands through heart center to the ground. Left foot stops and draws back. Lower the knee to the earth. Top of the foot to the ground, fingers to the sky. Okay, so sink in. Grip the mat with the feet. Same thing with those inner thighs. Actively drawing towards each other. And then this time, let's guide the hands to heart center here. Okay, as you exhale, you're going to twist to the right side of the room and then reach the fingers away from here. Flip the left palm up. Hand reaches up and the other hand is reaching down towards the calf. Still planting down the right big toe. Nice and steady to the earth. Lifting up with the heart, reaching back with the fingers. Take a nice big breath. And then one more. And then let's guide left hand to the ground, right hand to the sky. This time tuck the left toes and lift the knee. Come onto the outside edge of both feet. Lower left hip down towards the ground, reaching right fingers back. So it's pretty active. You're getting into the outer hip, lengthening through the left side body here. And then hand returns to the ground, feet face forward, step back to downward facing dog. Hands push the earth away, hips high to the sky, thighs reaching back. Keep the legs strong as you travel forward to plank, shoulders above the wrist, chaturanga. And then all the way down to the ground. Inhale, baby cobra or cobra. So we're focusing on strengthening the upper back here. Chest reaching forward, collarbone broad. And then gripping the fingers to the mat, tuck the toes, lift up through plank, downward facing dog. On your inhale, the left leg rises, nice and high. And then slow motion, draw the knee towards the nose. Placing the foot between the hands, right knee comes down, top of the foot to the ground, and then we make our way up. Sink into the hips, and remember everything from the belly button down, reaching to the earth, belly button up, lifting. Strong through the legs. Bring the hands to heart center. The breath in lengthens the spine, lifts us up. The breath out twists us to the left this time. And hugging everything in around the core here. Right arm forward, left arm back. Flip the right palm up. Hand scoops the air as it reaches up and back. Left hand reaches down towards the calf. Left big toe is going to want to peel away from the earth, so really plant it down. And then lift up with the sternum, lift up with the heart. Notice how that feels. Big breath. And then let's release right hand slowly to the ground. Left hand to the sky as we twist the left side of the room here. Tug the right toes under, lift the knee for a moment. Come on to the outside edges of both feet. So the soles of the feet face the thin end of the mat. Right hip draws down towards the ground, left hand back. And the right hand is really actively pushing the ground away here. Big breath. And then hands to the top of the mat, feet facing forward. Step the right foot forward, we're in forward fold. Big inhale, halfway lift, spine long. Bring the hands a little higher up than you would normally so we can continue to strengthen through the back of the body. And then exhale, arrive into your forward fold. Inhale, reverse swan dive this time. Arms out wide, fingers come to meet above the head, heart lifts. And then Samastiti, hands return to heart center. So nice and strong through the feet. Rise tall as you inhale. Exhale, hinge from the hips, hands come to the ground. Halfway lift, inhale. Step back to plank this time. Okay, left hand arrives into the middle of the mat. Travel onto the outside edge of left foot. Option to stack right foot on top or stagger them, or even left knee to the ground as you come into side plank. So a few different options there for you. Push the ground away with left hand, reach up with right hand, whichever option you've taken. And then lower the hands to the ground, readjust yourself back into plank. And then take a breath there, heels reach away nice and strong through the upper back. And when you're ready, right hand to the center of the mat. Outer edge of right foot, left foot on top, in front, or right knee to the earth, left hand up to the sky. Really push the earth away with that right hand. Nice, and then slowly make your way back to your plank. Option to go straight to down dog or chaturanga. Choice of uplift, baby cobra, cobra, up dog. Double chaturanga even if you wish, and then tug the toes under. Find your way back into downward facing dog. Now really grip the earth, push the hands into the ground. So it's like you're pushing the ground away, the hips are nice and high. Thighs are reaching back. Big breath here. On your inhale, we're going to lift the left leg first. Three-legged downward dog. Exhale, bend the knee. Heel towards the bottom, knee towards the sky. Take a breath. Notice how it feels through the back of the right leg. Strong through the hands. Squaring the hips slowly to the ground. Step the foot between the hands as you lower the right heel down for 90 degrees. We're traveling up into warrior two. So your body's facing the side of the room, torso two. And your feet are strong. Fingers are reaching in opposite directions. Upper back strong, chest is lifted a touch. Sinking down, we're going to flip left palm up. Hand reaches up and back, right hand is traveling down right leg. And it's a nice light touch of the leg. Okay, a nice light touch. Go a little deeper into front knee if you want to add a little more strength to the legs. Take a big breath here. And then let's travel forward, forearm to the thigh, left side, right hand reaching up and over. Option, of course, to take left hand to the inside of left foot here if you need. Okay, so picking the variation that suits you today. Pushing down through the outside edge of that foot, that's where the stretch begins. Travels all the way through the side body to the fingertips. Last breath. And then travel all the way back up through warrior two. Now guide the hands to heart center, straighten left leg, turn right toes out. See if you can sink down into Skandasana. So left leg straight, right leg bent. Use a block under your bottom if you need to. Hands on the ground if you need as well. Take a nice big breath. And then use the hands if you need, push into the feet, lifting yourself back to where we started. Look to the top of the mat as you cartwheel the hands there, come onto the ball of the back foot, step to plank or straight to down dog. Chaturanga, exhale. Uplift of choice as you inhale. Strong back, front body open. And we make our way back into downward facing dog. Now take a breath in down dog. Notice how you're feeling. Notice how the legs are, how the spine is, how the lower back is, how the chest and shoulders and heart space are. And then let the right leg rise tall. Inhale. Slowly step that foot between the hands. Left foot to a 90-degree angle, and we come up into warrior two. Second side. Sink down into the hips. Fingers as strong as they reach away. Side body long. Sink a little deeper into the hip if you want to. Reach that right palm to face up. Hand reaches up and back. Left hand travels down left leg. Shoulder draws back, fingers reach, sinking deeper into the lunge if you want to. Nice and light, remember, through the left hand, maybe even placing it on the right side of the waist. One more breath. And then we lift ourselves, traveling through warrior two, forearm to thigh, left arm up and forward as we push down through the outer edge of left foot. Notice how it changes if the shoulder draws back, the fingers extend. Remember, there's that option to bring hand to the inside of foot or back of foot. Big breath. Push into the feet, lift back up to warrior two as you arrive, hands to heart center. Turning right foot as you straighten the leg, left foot to the edge, sinking into Skandasana, right leg straight, left leg bent. Lifting up through the heart, hands on the ground if you need them. One more breath here. Push into those feet, use your hands if you need to, travel back up to warrior two. Look to the top of the mat, cartwheel the hands there, come onto the ball of the back foot, stepping to plank or downward dog. Chaturanga as you exhale. Choice of uplift as you inhale. And then slowly tuck the toes under, lift up to downward facing dog. From here, left leg rises, last little mini round. Exhale, knee to the sky, heel to bottom. Now let's just slowly square those hips back to the ground, stepping the foot forward between the hands. Right foot comes to that 90-degree angle. We stand up tall, straightening both legs, hands arrive on the hips. Turn left foot to face same direction as right foot. Big inhale to lift up. As we exhale, we're going to hinge forward from the hips. Pause here. Bring the weight into the big toe and the back of the heel. And then lower the hands to the ground. Continue to walk your hands underneath your hips as you lower the head down in the direction of the ground. Some of you might meet the floor, in which case if you have headstand in your practice, feel free to make your way there. Most of us will be working our way into the shape itself. Notice how it feels through the back of the legs, how it feels in the lower back. A nice opportunity to get upside down, change our perspective on whatever is going on in our world. Opportunity for the heart to be above the head, so lymphatic system catches all the nasty little germs that might be lingering inside. If you're in headstand, you'll slowly start to make your way back down to the ground. And then finish the breath you're with wherever you are. Walk the fingers forwards. And I want you to turn the heels in just a touch, so the toes are pointing out, belly to spine, bend the knees, lifting yourself up here. And we're going to bring the hands to heart center for horse stance. Sink down. Notice the tailbone lightly drawing down, the power in the outer hips. And then let's start to come into cactus arms here. So we take it to goddess pose now. So the chest is broad, upper back is strong, muscles in between the shoulder blades working hard. Add a little fire if you want to by lifting the heels away from the floor. A nice little energizer and fire starter in the thighs and deeper core. Heels can come down anytime, remember. Slow down the breath. Temporary moments in time. Sometimes we get a little caught up in trying to get away from uncomfortable moments in our life, but sometimes it's an opportunity to stay and learn. So one more breath here. All right, hands to the hips as you straighten the legs out now. Turning the feet, the back foot to the side of the mat, left foot to face forward, little bend in the knee. Let's bring the hands to the top of the mat and then come onto the ball of the back foot and let's simply make our way back to downward facing dog. One last breath here. So push the ground away with the hands, hips nice and high. Thighs are reaching back. And just notice how this downward dog feels compared to the very first one that we did. more space through the back of the legs, more length in the spine, more openness around the chest and heart. And then soften the knees as you allow your gaze to travel just beyond the middle of the mat. Step your feet there and then lower your bottom down to the mat. Soles of the feet come to touch. Knees are going to drop out to the side as we come into bound angle pose. So let's interlace the fingers around the toes. Sitting tall on our inhale. And as you exhale, keep the collarbone broad, keep the belly lightly drawn in, lean forward. Some of you might release the toes, preferring to walk the fingers forwards. And some of you might keep your fingers interlaced around the toes. Try to resist the urge to go deeper or the feeling of going deeper by rounding the spine. Try to work with broadening the chest. Think about lengthening spine rather than rounding it for now. And then can you lightly squeeze the outer hip muscles, the buttocks? And when that muscle fires up, notice how it gives you even more space through the inner thigh, the groin area here. Breathing into the lungs. And bringing your awareness back to that idea of being aware of the breath in. Being aware of the breath out as we journey closer towards Shavasana. Slow things down. Last breath in. And then release the toes if you're holding them. Roll yourself up vertebrae by vertebrae. Guide the knees together with the help of the hands. And let's just take the legs out ahead of us for Paschimottanasana. Toes point back towards us, sitting on a block if you need to. Inhale, sweep the arms to the sky. So you're lifting up out of the lower back. And as you exhale, same thing, broad chest. Lean forward and let go of the notion that you need to touch the toes. Just reach to wherever you can. Chest broad, and every breath in is that lifting up, lengthening of the spine motion, and every breath out just a lowering down. Finding some release through the back of the legs, lower back included. Heart's reaching towards toes, toes towards heart, and again, I'm aware that I'm breathing in. I'm aware that I'm breathing out. Tongue relaxes away from the roof of the mouth. Muscles around the eyes and the mouth are relaxed. Taking these moments in our day to fill up our cup before we step out into the world, to share our energy. Such a positive way to start the day. Such a positive way to finish the day for those of you in a different area of the world. One more breath. And then we walk our hands back towards center. We sit up tall. Take a look over your shoulder. Make sure you have space behind you. And then lower yourself down onto the mat. Making your way to your final resting pose here, Shavasana. Fingers and toes relaxed. Whole of the back line of the body connecting to the ground. And just taking this opportunity just to simply be. And those of you who have the time to stay a little longer, please feel free to do so. Otherwise, start to bring just a little movement back into the fingers and the toes. And gently reaching the arms up overhead, inviting that full body stretch. And drawing the knees slowly in towards your chest, giving them a hug as you roll a little from side to side, back and forth. Eventually coming to roll over and rest for a moment on whichever side feels right for you. And keeping your eyes closed if you can, pushing the ground away from you with your hands, coming up to a comfortable seat. And just noticing as you arrive how you're feeling, how the body feels for having moved today, how the mind feels. And let's see if we can carry this feeling of space, this feeling of freedom in the tissues with us into the rest of our day. Bringing the hands together at heart center. Bowing the head to the hands in gratitude for our practice, in gratitude for our health. Namaste.